My mom got married to Alan 2 years ago. I am teen female, and Alan's 2 kids are Emma, tween female, and Noah, infant male. Noah was diagnosed with cancer last year, and someone told my mom and her husband there's some different treatment he could get in another country, and if they could raise the money, it would be better for Noah than the treatments available in the US. My mom and Alan couldn't afford it, so they've been sending him to treatment here and saving for Noah's treatment. They made a lot of cutbacks and asked that Emma and I give over any money we get so they can afford this. They have about 70% or something now, resulting from cutting out a lot. We eat very basic meals, they've cancelled our internet, and we don't do anything for our birthdays or Christmas since we started saving. Any money that comes into the house goes to essentials or the treatment fund. My dad died 9 years ago, and my paternal family stayed part of my life. They know what's been happening, and they've been buying me little treats and taking me out to eat when they can. They also give me money every couple of weeks to have something if I ever need anything. I've been hiding that money because I know I would be told to give it up. I carry it everywhere because Emma is the type to snoop and tell her dad. She's asked me why I don't babysit to help make more money for her brother. She would work if she could, but she's only 11. I spent some of the money from my grandparents over the weekend. I got my hair cut and I bought my best friend a gift for her birthday. I also got some food and spent time at my dad's grave. My mom noticed my haircut and asked where the money came from, and she realized I was lying when I said I'd been with my grandparents and they took me because I forgot they were out of town. So I told her they gave me money to get some stuff done. Mom told me a haircut was unnecessary and how selfish I could be. Alan heard her scolding me and he jumped in and asked what the heck was wrong with me. He told me his family has to pull together for Noah, and I'm acting like I don't care whether Noah gets this treatment or not. Of course, by the end of the day, Emma heard and freaked out. Then my mom ran into my best friend's mom a couple of days ago, and she told Mom my gift to my best friend was so sweet and thoughtful. I was sat down and yelled at for spending the money on not just me but on others. Alan asked me how I could give the money for a gift that meant nothing when it could have gone to save my brother's life. I yelled back that it was not my job to pay for Noah's treatments, and I was already sacrificing, but I refused to go all out the way they wanted me to. I told them the money came from my family, a family who has nothing to do with them, and they needed to let it go. Alan called me a selfish little witch, and he told me I should be ashamed of my repulsive behavior. Now Emma keeps telling me I'm a bad person. Am I the idiot for not contributing toward my stepbrother's treatment fund? Not the idiot. Go live with your grandparents if you can. Pitch it as it's a way to help them save money for Noah and don't ever go back. I get being worried about your kid, but to starve the other kids of having a youth just to send him somewhere else? Do they not realize that this is just to send him there, not to mention the cost of the stay? Also, it's very likely that this treatment in another country is a scam. Speaking from personal experience, there are, unfortunately, a lot of quacks who prey on the desperate parents of sick children. But honestly, there probably isn't a point in telling them that because I doubt they will listen. I had a brother with cancer, and it's incredibly hard on parents to watch their children suffer like that. But that doesn't give your parents a free pass to abuse you. $10 says it isn't even medical treatment but some alternative scam in Mexico or Thailand. There's almost certainly a good reason why it isn't available in the US. And oh, I guarantee if they have a college fund for OP, it's already gone or in the fund for Noah. And probably any inheritance from the late father was in the mother's hands. And Social Security is probably received for OP. I do feel badly that a young child is so ill, but that's not an excuse to sacrifice OP's well-being or even that of Noah's sister. Definitely not the idiot. I hope you find a way to be away from your toxic family. I, female 21, have 3 older brothers. My brother, 32, is married. His wife is 30. Our parents are lawyers. Mom was still working full-time when my brothers were born. They were little. Then they had me, and my mom, who always wanted a girl, decided to switch to stay-at-home mom, and later on, she started working part-time when I started school. I think I was a little bit more sheltered than my brothers, but I think that's just because I'm a girl and not because our parents love me more. I've seen it with my friends' parents as well. I'm also married and a stay-at-home mom. My husband and I have an infant baby boy. Well, now the conflict. This happened last week at my nephew's birthday party. At one point, I asked everyone if they minded if I nursed my baby there or if I could go to one of the bedrooms to do it. Everyone was fine with it, so I just followed through and we continued talking. I'm only breastfeeding my son. I don't pump milk or give him formula. My sister-in-law asked me about it, and I told her that I just prefer to do it like this. My son's pediatrician says that he's healthy and doesn't need formula, so I like breastfeeding. Well, my sister-in-law thought that it was very offensive how I said that I liked it because it sounded as if I didn't understand my privilege for being able to do it. She said, "Of course you like it because you don't do anything else all day than have your kid in your arms and breasts." I honestly feel like that came out of nowhere, and I asked her why she was saying that. She told me that she's tired of hearing me talk about how wonderful motherhood is because I'm just a glorified housewife, and I talk like being a mother is the easiest thing in the world, just because I don't work and I don't do most of the housework. I told her that every time I talk about motherhood, I do it from my perspective. It's not my fault that other women don't enjoy it as much as I do. I am giving my opinion and that's all. Well, she started calling me out on my privileges and said I'm just a silly girl who doesn't understand the world. I got angry and replied to her, so on top of what my sister-in-law was saying, my brother started telling me to stop with that spoiled brat attitude and that I needed to face the real world, and he insisted on how privileged and spoiled I am by our parents and my husband. My husband intervened and my brother and he argued too. My parents also tried to say that sister-in-law's attack was uncalled for. My husband and I left and so did my parents. Well, about half an hour after I left, I received a text from my brother saying that everyone was uncomfortable and some people had left his son's birthday party because I can't take criticism. He also noted that my nephew is severely upset with me. My husband and parents are very obviously on my side and so are my friends, although one of them told me that maybe my sister-in-law is stressed out because of her job and taking care of her children, and as another mother, I should be more understanding. But brother and sister-in-law accuse me of trying to steal the spotlight from my nephew again and say I'm rude for defending myself. Oh boy, projecting like this. Your sister-in-law should get a job with IMAX. You are not the idiot. If you insult someone in your home, of course they will leave. Yet your sister-in-law and brother are surprised. If I were treated that way, I'd never darken their door again. Stealing the spotlight from your nephew for breastfeeding is seriously messed up. What a sick perspective. Maybe that's why people left. They were uncomfortable with what they were saying and arguing, not that you made them uncomfortable. Next time they say you can't take criticism, maybe point out that it's not their job to criticize you. If your sister-in-law had shown some manners to her guests, this wouldn't be an issue. Everyone's the idiot. This is so obviously not about breastfeeding. It's about your brother's resentment towards you because you had a very different childhood than he did. He's taking it out on the wrong person. It's your mother that you should be confronting, not you. Seeing another child clearly favored over you hurts, and it can hurt long into adulthood, if not addressed and dealt with. Your attitude shows you have no empathy for your brother and his hurt. Sure, they mishandled this and were rude and bad hosts, but hurt can make you irrational. However, he is an adult and needs to start behaving like that. I hope your brother gets the help he needs and maybe going no contact with you will help him heal. I think, OP, you are the idiot. Sister-in-law is right. You don't know about the real world. You're 21, don't work, don't go to school, don't clean. All you get to do is take care of the baby. You come from a place of privilege. Also, at no point did your sister-in-law indicate she didn't enjoy motherhood. She said you had it easier and you do. And it's time for your mommy to wake up and realize she did some damage to your brothers. I, 40 female, have 4 kids. 3 daughters, 2 teens and a tween and a son teen. Only the twins are relevant here, let's call them John and Judy. John and Judy have been asking their dad and me for permission to get a tattoo for a few months. Both hubby and I are inked, so we were not against it. We just asked them to think about what exactly they want for a few months so they don't regret it later, and then they can get inked in 2024 with our permission. They presented us with their ideas on January the 1st. Judy had a lovely little flower nature motif for her arm. I instantly fell in love with it. The problem was John's motive. He chose the world serpent from Norse mythology and this tree. The serpent forms a circle around the tree and Norse runes are inside the circle. I saw it and had to think immediately about white supremacists and their Nordic tattoos. It was an instant no for him. We're white with blonde hair and blue eyes. This tattoo would send the wrong signals. It would be on his arm so everyone could see it if he wore a shirt. John was furious. His dad asked him to compromise by removing the runes from his concept, but John said no. So no tattoo for him. I made an appointment for my daughter at my tattoo artist, but when I told my husband, He said he wants the twins to get their first tattoos together and that this means something to him. Besides, it would be unfair to John and he has second thoughts now because maybe they are too young. I disagreed with him. Why should Judy suffer because of her brother's unwillingness to choose something more appropriate? I tried to convince him, but he was adamant. In the end, I thought, screw it, she's getting this tattoo. So I drove her to my studio without telling Hubby, and she got her tattoo. My husband was furious when he saw it and called me a massive idiot. He said I broke his trust and undermined his authority. John is giving me the silent treatment. Am I the idiot? His reasons were crap in my opinion, but he is Judy's dad and we vowed to always act as a team. You are the idiot. I'm heavily tattooed and I cannot imagine ever letting a 16-year-old get tattooed. Sure, I wanted tattoos at that age, and they would have been so crap because what you want at 16 usually very much differs from when you're 18. If I saw someone with a Nordic tattoo, my first thought would not be white supremacy, but this is also why kids shouldn't be getting tattoos. Your husband seemed to be thinking this through finally, and you went behind their back to do it anyway. My friend laughed when her son asked for a tattoo, then said, "Son, you can get that with your own money when you're 18 and only have yourself to blame." This whole story reads like screw husband and son, her favourite daughter, let's get you inked. OP, I don't like your husband talking about you undermining his authority, but his reasons were sound. You sure did break his trust, you played favourites with your kids, and you probably undermined the twins' relationship. Although I may agree your daughter should be allowed to get the tattoo regardless of your son's choice of tattoo, that's not the point here. The point is you disrespected your husband. I'm 33 female in a relationship with my boyfriend 38 for 15 years. We were engaged 8 years ago but no further plans were made. When I mentioned it, he always found a reason why we had to wait. It wasn't a good time, we had no money, etc. I never asked for an expensive wedding. I offered to elope or go to the courthouse. He declined and said he wanted a proper wedding because that's what I'd mentioned I originally wanted. The engagement ring he bought me was $20 because we were poor then, but I never got a replacement when it broke. We now spend on average $100 a month just on takeout or going out for comparison. A couple of months ago, he said he wanted to get me something expensive for $1,500 but didn't have the money. I immediately knew, so I pressured him to tell me what it was because he never bought me anything more than $100. He said it was a ring. I said if he really wanted, he could have easily saved a ridiculous $10 a month for the last 8 years and gotten me a good enough ring because I'm supposed to wear it forever, and why the heck would he mention it if he can't get it? Makes no sense. A few weeks ago, he mentioned saving for a car to replace his old one. I got furious and we had a serious talk. I asked him about his real plans and to stop with the BS and be a man. After much pressure, he said he didn't think marriage was important. I asked him why you got engaged then. He said he wanted to. I told him he made no sense and to think, what would he think about it if his sister had a boyfriend for that long, acting the same way? He said nothing. I said you have a month to think and decide, then I'm leaving. Then he said no, you're not leaving, we'll get married soon, but we need to insert a couple of things to be done paid first. So I've been cold as ice since that talk. I'm not arguing or acting mad. I'm a roommate, not a girlfriend. I'm barely kissing him once a day, no intimacy. It hurts me because I love him, I feel lonely. But I don't want to act like everything is okay and ignore the elephant in the room. I feel hurt and rejected, so now I'm rejecting him as well. He complained a few times and asked why I was doing this. He genuinely doesn't get why I treat him like this. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but after all this, do you want to marry him? Like, really? He lied to you. He knew what you were craving and gave you just enough to keep you around. He does not care about you or your feelings. He could have been honest. He could have started an open conversation. He could have looked for a compromise. He didn't. Not in 15 years. Lady, do him and yourself a favour and take a hard and honest look at the thing you call a relationship, maybe with the support of a counsellor, and ask yourself if this is really what you want. You deserve a partner who cares about your dreams and will support you to make them come true. Exactly, OP, you can do better. He cannot. Just leave. Why wait for a ring and marriage if it's forced? You'll always know he only married you because you forced him. It's not love. It's just a way to make you care for him when he gets old. So leave. Find someone who truly appreciates you. Seriously? $20 engagement ring from a grown-up man? He bought her silence for 8 years for only $20. I feel for OP, I do, but I really wish people had more self-respect. You shouldn't have to beg someone to marry you. I don't think I could stomach being married to someone I had to threaten into being with me. Update, we live in his house. I do own property of my own that I rent out. No debt. We have savings for emergencies. So, not rich, not poor either. No, I do not want to marry him just to cheat and divorce and get half of it, as someone suggested. I make more than he does, so I don't need his money. No, he doesn't cheat. I never asked for an expensive ring. That's my personal preference, and he was aware and agreed. He could have said no. I'm not using lack of intimacy to force or blackmail him to marry me. It's just how I feel now, so I'm acting based on these feelings. I have to think hard about our future.